On the previous topics, we have discussed on the types of nanomaterials which have been shown. We have been seen that the nanotubes form the continuous part of this nanotubes. Next, we are going to see about the structures of the nanotubes. The structure which should have the CNT, that is carbon nanotube, is a tubular form of carbon with 1 to 3 nanometer and the length of few nanometer microns, and each carbon atoms are linked by a covalent bond. The carbon nanotubes CNT is a miniature cylindrical carbon structures that has hexagonal graphite molecules attached at the edges. Next, the nanotubes look like a powder or black shoot, but they are actually rolled up sheet of graphene that forms a hollow strands with faults and that are only one atom thick. So which is that the graphene should forms a hollow strand with these walls. They should form a structure like the carbon atoms which forms as a benzene rings, and the nanotubes which are allotropic form carbons atoms like a graphite, diamond, and the Buckminster's, fluorines, and nanotubes. So these are the structures which have been shown that the types of carbon nanotubes, that is a single wall carbon nanotubes, double wall carbon nanotubes, and the triple wall carbon nanotubes, that is SWCNT, DWCNT, and TWCNT, to form structures to which the graphite. Next, the CNT has a potential to use as a semiconductors, for example potentially replacing silicons in a wide variety of computing devices. So from these devices which we are used as a semiconductors. Next, the types of CNT: single wall carbon nanotubes, that is SWCNT, and the multi-wall carbon nanotubes, MWCNT. So these are the types which have been used in the single wall or multi-wall carbon nanotubes. Next, the single wall carbon nanotubes. It consists of the one sheet of the graphite cylinder types, that is an armchair. So it has a structure like hexagons are parallel to the axis of the nanotubes. The zigzag structures, the lines of carbon bonds are down the center of the axis of the nanotubes. Next, the chiral characteristics. It exhibits two spiral around the nanotubes. So these are the structures which have been shown, that is zigzag, armchair, and the chiral. The chiral, it should have the round shape of the carbon atoms. The armchair, it should be form a diagonal shapes, and the zigzag structures will form a zigzag formation of the structure. Next we are going to see about the multi-wall carbon nanotubes. So the multi-wall carbon nanotubes, it consists of a multi-layer of a graphite rolled themselves to form a tube shapes. So which is the layer should be in the roll form, and it has to form a tube-like structures. So these are the forms which have been used recent so far as in the graphene structures, and it has a properties which should be a high tensile strength, high electrical and thermal conductivity, stable in air, inert towards acids, stable at high temperatures. So these the having the multi-walled carbon nanotubes to produces a very high strength to form a carbon nanotubes, which is used in the devices, technologies, and the chips, most of these semiconductors. And the applications of the carbon nanotubes which have been used in this characteristics are catalyst, drug delivery, biosensors, biomedical applications, making fibers and fabrics. So by these fabrics we are using the structures of tensile strength and the non-stain removal of fabric cloths, and the biomedical applications which have been used in the hospitals, and biosensors are same as in the structures to form a catalyst like biosensors, and the applications of the structures. Here I have shown that the diagram, that is a multi-wall carbon nanotubes which is in the form of roller shapes to form the different types of the carbon which have been shown in the diagram. So it should have a stable high temperature and towards acid, and which has a stable in air, and it has a high electrical and thermal conductivity, and it has a high tensile strength. So these are the major characteristics which have been shown that single wall or multi-wall carbon nanotubes in the first explanations to have a graphite, the nanotubes, how the nanotubes can be produced from the CVD method by using a gaseous substance, the solid substrate which have converted into gaseous to form like a thin layer or thin film wire like structures to form the chip based diagram. Thank you.